Wow, so drama, I don't know what I want to say, but I want to say something. Ever since Fake Sagan's come back, I've noticed a bunch of drama. Some of it directly because of that. I ended up watching Straight Dope and seeing some dramas. You know, even people I know something about, like Brett Keane, I don't really follow, and all these accusations people make, and it's like, I already don't value Brett Keane for what he says intellectually, so why would I really care? And so it is like that, and I do pretty good at keeping out of dramas, even of people that I know. When I started talking to John Paul Dorn, one of the things that pissed me off, and I told him, was that he drew me into this drama, because I was talking to John Paul, and I happened to make I think the Fred video about the sex industry or something. And it's all out of the woodwork, all this drama and accusations, things way beyond the subject matter. And I'm just not interested in that. And I've figured those subjects out for myself. I don't have the urge you all fucking have to convince everybody else of things, every single fucking thing you believe strongly. So, you know, I haven't got into that argument on YouTube. And I don't remember who's on what side. Even people that I talk to about other things often, I always forget. Like, is girl on film pro or anti? I don't know. I won't remember. I've been told. It's not going to commit to memory. I sometimes go, what? But I don't go like, oh, and then I'll find it out and I'll commit it to memory. Because there's so much drama around it. So, as you know, recently I've been looking into personality disorders. I've been searching for people, and I type in personality disorder or borderline. That gets both people, you know, from treatment industry as well as people that have been diagnosed. So I did that, and I came upon somebody who says she's recently diagnosed with BPD, someone named Cherry Pole. And I'm noticing in the comments, because usually in these videos I've been watching, there's no comments from anybody I recognize, but this one did have a couple. And as I'm looking, there's more and more. And then I'm finding, fuck you, Ooj. I was, huh? And it's like, oh, Skid Row Radio's involved with this. Oh. Well, recently I saw Great Tex's video on Ooj, calling him, who's that guy again? Nathan Barley. Which I thought, well, that's a good TV recommendation or movie or book or whatever it's going to be. So I looked at that, and I've been watching that rather awkward and disturbing show. And I still, really? That's what Ooj is like? Because, I mean, I've seen a half dozen of Ooj's videos and wiki links and a couple other things. And you know, I know he's in the middle of the drama, so I watch the ones I watch. I don't watch the rest. Because this is the kind of thing, you know, people know this. It's like, I have a problem when you bring your dirty laundry out in public. Okay, that's one thing. But then when you go back to the person you've been complaining about, generate more dirty laundry, and then bring that out in the public, it's like, are you fucking kidding me? But this Ooj thing, Ooj, if you're watching this, remember how recently I was talking, and you know, I think I showed some sympathy for this homeless guy, Nick Bravo, that's in a kind of a drama with Happy Cabby and the world. You know, I mentioned though that, you know, Nick was dancing on Happy Cabby's grave before he's died. He has a terminal disease, and that's prima facie dick move. Really doesn't matter the backstory. Something like that. That's for the psychologist, might still be interested in the backstory. But the whole thing about why I became Hannibal Lecter is like, that's not important to most people. That just care that you ended up fucked up. Yeah, well, continuing to interact, badmouth, provide the opportunity for feelings of betrayal, etc. Whatever you were told. Well, I just talked to him again out of the compassion in my heart. No, you fucking didn't. The compassion in your heart should have been smart enough to know that the thing is that the contact needed to stop. So now you have basically you harassing somebody with BPD, and if it's he said, she said, then you get to also say, she's harassing me, but she has BPD and is having to go to the hospital to deal with it. Sorry, dude, prima facie, dick move. And this is why I've been talking about personality disorder, and it's just very interesting how this all comes together. It's like I get attracted into drama, and I see dramas that don't even have anything to fucking do with Fake Sagan. It's far as I know, like the Nick Happy Cabbie one. And I'm getting the personality disorder seems like a parallel thing. No, it's probably all related, right? This is just fucking, you guys don't diagnose people because we're all crazy. You should be all begging people to diagnose you. I do. I come on here, you know, I know I've been online a long time. People are going to try to tell you that. Go for it. Either will be way off the mark or I'll learn something. Because you motherfuckers need some diagnosing. You do. And if you won't do it for yourself, the people that care about you just because you're human might do it. They might seem like they're attacking you, and maybe they're giving you a wake-up call you need. I don't know. I'm online for those wake-up calls, and nobody ever fucking brings them anymore. Right? And one reason is because when I'm seeking, I find, you know, I will say something, be told something, and then I'll have feedback, and then I'll learn from it. And if I put my skeletons in the closet and somebody says, don't go see that person anymore, and if I do, I'll know that I wasn't listening to someone. But they were a detractor and they said it in a negative voice, but it was true. Everybody has these problems. You know how you can see that everybody has these problems? You can see how they deal with the people that have these problems. Okay. I tried to save my ex, and that was a problem. I could just go, well, see what a good person I am. I just try to save people, but I had my own needs, my own confusion. You know, what it really was is when I was 17 and got in my 20-year relationship with somebody who had some serious problems, if you ask me. You know, I had my own confusing childhood, very confusing and depressing and sad. So I had thought a lot about that, and I knew how to build myself up from that kind of thing. And I met this girl, I'm in the right age to have this feeling of that at the same time. Plus I wanted to create a family. Later realized it was to try to fix my own childhood back in time when it worked. And the fact is, I wasn't over my sadness. I was just starting. But I had learned what I was going to do, how I was going to work on it. And so that was true. But it turns out the 20 years we were together, you know, I was working on my things, and I did help her, I think. And we had good times and stuff, and, you know. You know, it was not... I was trying to share what I had learned before I had applied it. And it was just a way of having a chance to apply it. By having someone else to apply it to, it helps, kept me focused, and I think in the end meant that I could apply it to myself consistently, even though a lot of my attempts to help her out were failing. Though on the other hand, her symptoms and coping mechanisms are better. They're just not good enough to have a relationship. And we've been split up by about 5 years. So yeah, you know, when we split up, I did not want to make it worse. I was really angry. I had reason to be bitter, and because she's crazy, I could easily have many things to point to and say, look, she's the crazy one. But then that's also the reason to still try to not make the problem worse. You move on from someone like that, you can understand. Nobody can say, you shouldn't have abandoned her because, okay, she has some problems you can't insist somebody else has to deal with. But when you still maintain this kind of link, and I mean, you know, someone in this framework is going to go back and forth. This guy's an asshole, let me dump all my fears and thoughts, and then you take them as literal truths because you want to, and then you get an interaction, and then you're surprised when it blows up in your face because you're always just doing it because you're so nice and I'm just nice. You know, and Cherry Pulse is a similar kind of thing. She's like poked by Ujama Flipper, and then she interacts with him, and he seemed like he was trying to check up and be nice. And she's saying, we poked, and I'm not rude, so I tried to talk to him. Well, she shouldn't do that. She should just never talk to you again. But she's dealing with BPD. What's your fucking excuse? I'll bet you got one. I'll bet you got a bigger one. You know why? Because you don't know what it is. You're not working on it. You're not getting help for it. You guys need help, man. You need somebody that just puts up like honesty and straightforward truth. Somebody that knows how not to be afraid of drama, but also not to be like addicted to it. Who could that be? I don't know. You'll never find anybody like that. It's just really, really pathetic. And you, Skid Row Radio, it could be he said, she said, if the videos I'm talking about were just a couple of days old. So, because a couple of days old means you're still doing this way after you're split up. And she has an acknowledged, diagnosed problem, and you still care more about your own little shit. Yeah, I'm sorry, personal things at that level relate to the philosophies you try to push, because you're not being consistent, then, really. Big for women's rights, but a woman suffering from a medical, I guess not human rights, huh? It's fucked up. It's fucked up. And now that I've seen Nathan Barley, that is so cute. Now that I've seen Nathan Barley, I still didn't get, why would Great Tech say that applies to you? But then I saw Bob Chaos showing videos of you pretending to masturbate to Nuclear Night, and there's things about you, and yeah, that just seems sort of fit. But then again, you seem enough like that you probably think that's cool. He had his own popular website, for God's sake. What's uncool about him? This is seriously fucked up. These are real issues. Real. Let's talk about anti-natalism. Yeah. I like to talk about stuff like that. I'll talk about science fiction and Star Wars. We can talk about all kinds of fantasy things. It's just like, this is the real deal, you know? What you think on anti-natalism means shit all. It doesn't matter. In your whole fucking lifetime, it won't really fucking matter. But how you treat someone with a personality disorder, how you face that you might have a personality disorder that explains how you treat them and why you were with them. Like, no, I'm totally stable. I mean, I was very stable. I've always been a go-to guy. Emergency, somebody's hurt, whatever. But why would I put up with my ex's situation? Because I had complexes of my own. You know, I'm into looking into the personality disorder. I've decided there's things for me to learn there. But, you know, I'm not going to adopt that, or that, is that the same as anxieties? And, you know, I mean, I can just call them complexes. And I just think that there's some interesting organizational work that's finally happened in the personality disorder. And it's probably happened, you know, a long time ago, 10, 20 years. I sometimes wait for things to settle down and settle in a little bit. So, that's the real deal, motherfucker. This is people's really living life. We should just not stop living, because when it comes to people actually in a suffering situation, I'm gonna make it worse. So no wonder you don't believe that we can make the world better. You're making the world worse. The person that wants the world to be better can only make it worse. And they're just logical enough to add those two things together. So everybody should stop. Well, some of us can make things better. Right? I told myself I was going to make things better with my ex. And I did. I didn't betray on that. Right? She was violent. She helped isolate us. I don't even blame her for half those things, because it's like, I went into that. Did I need that? Did I need it directly, or did I just need to feel like I was helping somebody that had problems like that? Figured out some of that. Some of it I have to admit haven't figured out. Just if only so that I won't think I know and stop thinking about it. Stop figuring it out. But at a certain point I realized, well, that my commitment and my love, my feeling of unconditional love, okay, I had to learn some things about that. So no matter how sane I was, there were some serious, important things that affected my life negatively I had to figure out. And that's the real deal, you know? That's the real deal. And for those of you who let a lot of your personal life online, inadvertently or intentionally, that's the real deal. How are you acting in those real situations? What are you doing about the suffering in your situation that you have a hand in? Especially the suffering that you say, well, that person started it. I'm with this crazy woman that I want to save, but they started it. No, they didn't. You started it by thinking it was a good investment. And when you decide it's not a good investment, that doesn't give you a right to make the problem worse. All right, I'm sure you got what you came for out of it. So fucking move on. Okay, so fucking move on and let people get better in their life. And then maybe if you're lucky, you'll realize you need to do that. I want to explain why I say it anyway, you know. So you could say, well, he does want to be insulting, he knows it's... But it's like, I'm listening to people on the other subjects. I know what Boo Boo Tube stands on anti-natalism and so forth, right? But on that subject, it just really discredits the subject at some point when the bonding group is bonded over unhealthy things. See, I don't want to go bond over that, because I don't see that the bonding is a care for that issue particularly at that point. I'm not saying it isn't. It's all mixed up. It can maybe never be separated out. But you have to see, well, you don't have to, but perhaps you see what I'm talking about when I make one video on it and in bursts a million dramas I don't want to know about. Of course, personal stories, especially about people, stories that involve people you are familiar with in some respect, even if it's just only their name and face. Definitely if you're, you know, some of their ideas, you're like, well, let's see what's behind the ideas. In one sense, it's separate, but in another sense, there's a reason we all want to know what's behind the ideas. You know why? Because your real philosophy is how you live. As I say, it's because your real philosophy is how you live. So people are curious how you live. Sometimes it doesn't impact, but sometimes it does. Okay? Especially in the case of fanatics. And again, I don't know if you guys are fanatics because I have not kept track of. You guys all call each other fanatics, but whatever, probably not. But you might be acting like fanatics on the internet. But especially with fanatics, you know, their personal lives start to impact because they're such purists. You know, they are exactly the kind of people that don't accept personal lives from the philosophical scrutiny, so they're more open to that, by the way I play the game. But what I wanted to point out, and why I was making another video, is that, you know, this stuff is avoidable. I mean, this is why I get out of these bonding groups. When you're in a friendship with someone, you need to look at why you bonded with them. Let's say you're a liberal and someone else is a liberal and you're bonding over pointing the finger and making fun at the local conservative village idiot. I do that. I enjoy that activity, but to a certain degree. But I don't enjoy bonding over it because it's unhealthy to bond over something like that. And later on, when you end up breaking up and that person is pointing at you like you're a village idiot, ha ha, your fault. But they betrayed me as a friend and that's wrong. Oh, guess what? It's also wrong to point people and point at them like a village idiot and not treat them as real human beings. So call that karma, you guys. Haven't you noticed that these big drama groups are all people that were friends at one time? Yeah, you're not managing your friendships. Now maybe this is just my own personality tendency, but I know that a lot of relationships end more difficultly than they feel like they possibly could going in. I learned that young, and you all should have too. Like in kindergarten, I'm pretty sure it starts. In preschool, actually, if you go to preschool, you know. But it's groups of former friends. And we really were friends too. We were really close. We bonded over all kinds of sick shit. And you might say, well, no, we were bonding over something good. Were you really? Are you sure about that? I'm almost certain. If you have a bad relationship, you bonded over something false. I have a really bad relationship with my father right now. It's really sad. I brought my kids to know him, and he's really distant. But, you know, and we bonded over false premises when I was a child. Even in family, I think a lot of this personality disorder type behavior that we have from our family relationships, especially people that are otherwise fine. You go back to Thanksgiving dinner, fucking it's all hell breaks loose. Why? Well, because almost all the bonding in a family is on false premises. I mean, just almost nobody. It's very rare. That's one thing about the so-called, like, the one, like, if you remember the old Roseanne Barr show, and it's supposedly about a dysfunctional family and whatnot, and the house of mess, supposedly, and stuff. But the reason that family was a positive is they bonded over their real personalities. So even if it was a negative thing they were bonding over, it wasn't because I'm a liberal, that's good, so this friendship's good because we're bonding on liberalism. No, you're bonding on a more particular thing than that. So anyway, that's my... Oh, it's going, okay. So holy shit, let me tell you what's basically happened. Making a bonus segment, I figure, what the hell, you know? I can't keep going, oh, I don't know who's on what side of this issue. When I stayed out of it because there's all this kind of bonded drama subject matter going on. And I figure, well, okay, that was just to stay out of that. If I'm going to go comment, I might as well do the part that I normally would do out of enjoyment and figure out who believes what. So I got a little ways into that. I'm watching some Nuclear Night videos, which I've seen. I've talked to her and stick them and stuff, but I just never really, I didn't know all the... So I watch a couple of those, and I end up putting her name in. It comes up with a variable ass video I watch, and where he's explaining, you know, how he didn't rape some woman. And I end up watching other videos. I end up seeing what he's referring to, because somebody has posted some fights that I guess he had originally posted, well, arguments with this woman. See Inside Me, I think was her name. I'd seen videos of his, I think, probably before that and after. I didn't know all of this had happened. It's like you're walking along in the forest where you go all the time, and you stumble on a rock, and you turn the rock over, and there's a bunch of bugs. And I'm like, okay, sorry guys, I don't want to dry you out. So I put it down, and oh boy, lots of bugs. And while I'm doing that, I knock this other rock, and the centipede comes out. And I'm like, shit. So I check another rock, and sure enough, all these rocks have shitloads of bugs under them. That's what's happened to me. So the bonus material is going to be a little bit of, well, I guess I don't want to give it away, do I? But this is me finishing off the drama material, because we have another prima facie dick move, and that is something that comes out from watching Varioblast talk about how he's gonna love his kid as long as it's got the right last name. It's just like, I'm gonna totally love my kid if it has blonde eyes and blue hair, if it has 5 fingers and not 6, neither shall there be 4, and I shall accept only 1 belly button and as many as 1 extra nipple, and I will love him with all my heart. You know, when you're going to have a kid, you know, your philosophy is just your philosophy. Wanting to have a kid isn't, I want to have a kid. If it has the right number of fingers, I will love it. What? Saying you love that kid means I love that kid even if the mom turns out to be crazy. You know why? Because she probably will, and so will you. And having kids will prove it. Yeah, prima facie, also an in-depth dick move. I've never seen him mention the child, but I don't watch him that much, but it's a brand new child, huh? I don't know, maybe he's really a part of that child's life. It looks to me like he was using a human being like a piece of paper. Dick fucking move, man. Can't use human beings like pieces of paper. Your ideas don't amount to shit. All your ideas don't add up to 1 abandoned child, you motherfucker. life and psychology does impact. And all you undiagnosed motherfuckers are wrecking the world. You know why? Because it's all of you, right? None of you have your diagnosis, dumbass motherfuckers. I know mine. It isn't even in these books. I'm reading up on personality disorder just to try to understand all of you shits, because I don't have access to the inside of your minds. I have access to the inside of mine, and I'm able to create my own theory of complexes and conceptual reasoning and epistemology, and I'm both smart enough to do that, but and stupider than you, and you know everything, and yet you can't figure it out. And I'm not supposed to say you can figure it out, because maybe I'm smarter than you, but you also don't listen, and then you have drama and hook up with the people who had drama again, and then kids end up without parents. Dick move, motherfucker. Okay? Dick move. You are a fucking total dick as far as I'm concerned. You can tell me how you see that kid every other weekend and every other Wednesday, and I'll change that opinion, okay, you asshole? Then it's just two people split up, and you're just the fucking moron that made it inevitable. Dick move. Okay, you fucking drunk. This is having a profound effect on me, that I pressed up against the glass are just a bunch of centipedes, you know, which it's a funny metaphor because it's a nasty little insect, but I let them go free and they attack roaches, but I don't let roaches go free anymore now that I live here. I mean, fucking no way would I. They're roaches, you know, they will shit on your food, okay, while you're fucking eating it. The profound effect is just, you make this shit look bad. Most of you people are just using subjects as a playground to express your emotional issues, because the subject matter is free and anything you want to think is true. So you can just do anything, right? Argue from fallacies that allow you to conclude anything. You don't want to be diagnosed? Are you fucking kidding me? You should be begging the world to diagnose. I'm happy. I am asking people. I totally act like, go ahead and diagnose me. People are fucking scared too, because I've done it so long now, they sense it's a trap. That they won't really make me depressed, that they'll just make me stronger, and they want to hurt you mostly when they diagnose. Not me. I want to understand you, because you could be alive. Doesn't mean you ever will be, in a poetic sense. The tools that you have available that you don't use, it's just, they lay fault at your feet. And I got ideas. I know how to change language. You know, I made the mistake of the wrong person, and I stayed and made sure that I wasn't going to lose contact with those kids. Because of my own situation, partially. Not necessarily prescient. But the part in where I was dedicated to those kids no matter what, even when the mom turns out crazy, no fucking matter what. I had a woman let him change his name to some crazy thing, but she's like, I don't really want the kid to do that. Well, you're out of here then, because you were a political plan. Politics is real, so that's real. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, you put that stuff up not even knowing what it goddamn means. Your cry for help that refuses to be heard. Well, let me just tell you, I care about this much about the right and wrong. You're all fucking getting diagnosed now. You talk to me, immediate diagnosis, I guess. Fucking, I've seen enough of this shit. You make us all look bad. Those of us that want to take part in this noble public conversation that I talk about, that does go on here, and people that supposedly are activists and actually care about subjects, they're just using them for petty drama, like the subject of the sex industry or feminism or natalism or any of that. Like that's you can use that like a high school. You could just make that a petty piece of shit. Want to fucking bet? Okay, so I'm going to tell you what I mean about, as an example, of activists not... If they cared about the activism, they would see things differently. I can tell empirically whether they care about the activism or not. Kona longboard. So as I said, I watched some Nuclear Night videos. I figured out where she stands. I got a little distracted with the very last thing. And, but you know, for example, I watched her commenting on an interview I happen to have already seen about slut walk. Now what I would say is, let's just assume for a second that she's right. That Nuclear Night is right, and that feminists that are soft on sex trade issues, so to speak, that aren't prohibitionist or whatever. Soft could mean a lot of things, but if you know Nuclear Night, I guess you'll know better than me what that would mean in this case. She's right in that being soft on that, you know, is wrong. Well, the thing is, she's mistaken to lose sight of the fact that just because if she was in a room with another feminist, she says, does the woman have to do everything the man says, no matter what? And you have a bunch of feminists go, fuck no. But they're over in the corner arguing about the sex trade. They're doing shit all about the fact that we still have basic fucking things anyone with fucking half a noggin could understand. And they don't understand, as I said before, that a healthy activism movement needs every logical permuted representative. Meaning people that are going to disagree with you on things that you think are very important. And oh no, it's a catastrophe, except for if you look at the fact, oh fuck, there's way more serious things you agree on than this one you guys have decided to chew each other up about. And let's say she's wrong. Same thing goes, man. Same fucking thing goes. You know, and what it comes down to is that we're going to have to solve those basic problems. The no, catch up to this century. A woman doesn't have to do everything her husband says. So what it comes down to is that's the next step. If we were sane enough to take the next step together, when we got there, we're going to find out a lot of our positions have changed. Some of the people will say, you know what, we also do have to take out the sex trade. Now we're in a position to do it. And some people will go, you know what, now that we have equality here, I don't really mind. The sex trade is now populated only by people with really strong libido, sexual artists that really want to do that. And some people will say, I used to think that, but now I see how they are manipulated into that. And other people will go, I agree. And that is why now that there is equality in this mainstream culture, that is dying of its own attrition and natural accord. You see. But you guys won't get together, and liberals won't get together. You know. And blue dogs will run the fucking Democratic Party and won't get together. I'm 43, and it's starting to piss me off. It's starting to be the problem. You motherfuckers don't know how to talk and communicate. You don't know the difference between the word fuck, between the concept fuck you, and the word, and the concept behind those sometimes. You know, you don't get that it's possible to see if information's coming through, whatever the presentation. It's possible to double check. Is there information coming through? You know, what are we bonding over? What is the question? Are we still on it? Did we learn anything new today? These are profound subjects. And your soap operas are not. Your lack of cohesion simply means you're bad activists. And that means that all of your emotional disgust, anger, and judgment, based on your activism and your trueness to your ideals, It's just like a father deciding his ideals mean that he doesn't need to do any of his promises, of his plans about that child. The child was reduced to one little thing, an idea, a few subset of his neurons. Was more than a whole living body. Yeah, right. Really. By the way, dick move, motherfucker. Anyway. Yeah. We need something. It's becoming imperative. We need a tool where people that are actually going to take part in the conversation can do so, and people that are just going to use it as a little stage for the fact that they didn't want to finish the emotionalism, the petty emotionalism of antiquity, are weeded the fuck out, weeded out. The only reason I'm not at the point of censorship, the only reasons, plural, would be, one, it doesn't really work, and two, I don't want people taking part in the genuine public debate to have to bother with that. Instead, I'm thinking something that is so emotionally tedious for you to bear that you stay places like YouTube. Not being a purist, I will bide my time and see what that means for me. But, yeah.